Hey guys, it's Sebastian back with another video, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about a subject I think is interesting to kind of look at from a perspective of how history's played out, some of the words that we use and how they have a lot more impact than we think they do. And we say certain things, and it's really funny to me how we have these certain concepts that when you break them down, they make a lot of sense, but at the beginning you're kind of like, what's going on here? And so what I've noticed is, I've talked about spirituality before, and there's some funny things that we talk about in society, especially like phrases and things that we're not aware of, but they actually have a lot more meaning than we think they do. And so let me give you an example. So we say this phrase called "the truth hurts." Okay, we say this: the truth hurts. Okay, but we never ask who it hurts or why. We know it hurts. We felt that hurt. The truth does hurt us, but what part of us? What does it hurt? And now that, when you look a little deeper in that realm, you start to see some fascinating things. So, something that has come to light recently, literally though, as human beings have this interesting mechanism in them where we care a lot about lying and the truth. So, one big difference between us and animals, because of the way our conscience works, it's like we keep a tally mark. We know, we have an awareness. We're self-aware. Because we're self-aware, we have to take in a moral inventory. Because with that moral inventory, you really don't have true self-awareness to some extent. So, we have a moral inventory that kind of keeps track, almost tabs, of all the crap, all the things we've done, and all the problems we've had, right? So there's like a moral inventory here. So, what does that mean? Well, when you act inappropriate, when you act deceiving, when you don't tell people a lie, when you don't give it your full effort, whenever you are in the wrong in some way, or, you have failed to meet up to a certain standard, that's going to cause some sort of distress in your body, some sort of chaos, right? Now, maybe this is because the body, there's a couple reasons why. This could be because the body's an old system and it doesn't, I think maybe consciousness was a extra part of, evolution, you could say, development. So the body, had all these other systems in place. And then when you add consciousness is self-awareness or imagination or whatever, that little extra sauce compared to the rest of the animals. But there's like a duality there, because to be able to create, to have that imagination, it can be a positive, because you can create a lot of positive things, or it can be a negative. So you can imagine a lot of you can create, or you can positive scenarios or destructive, hurtful ones. And that's what it really comes down to, having that freedom of consciousness, is that there's a duality now. There's a duality in the way you exist. Animals don't have that duality, not the same way humans do. And so we have the ability to create wonderful things or create horrible things. And there's a reason why the truth hurts. Because we were meant to tell the truth. We were meant to be honest. We were meant to be forward, right? As a human species, we were meant to tell the truth. We're designed that way. Now, we can't lie, but we were meant to tell the truth. We were designed to feel good when we say things that were... Why does it feel good to get things off your chest? Because, again, we were meant to tell the truth. It doesn't feel good to lie. The only time you feel good lying is when it's somebody else that has been wronging you. But even then, there's still a part of you that the second that you lie, you're going to start caring about being exposed. That was a factor that wasn't there before. It can only be there when you start to lie. And when you start to lie, you start, like they say, a lie leads to another lie, which leads to another. Because it's a lie, it can never be the truth. It can never have stability, because it is literally built on a lie. And the only thing that holds value in this world is the truth. So that's why the truth hurts. Because when people start being chaotic, when people start manipulating information, when they start lying, when they start hiding their true selves, that's when the chaotic energy comes out, and that's when the truth hurts. Because again, people are going to avoid the truth so they can keep living in that disarray. So as a human being, we have this moral, this moral compass, this moral value system that's been installed in us. This has been a part of our system, right? And so the second you lie, you steal, you manipulate, whether you think that, hey, I don't care, it doesn't bother me, it does bother you. It does, because now you have this awareness towards others. You are so focused. When you manipulate, you are more focused on other people than yourself at that moment, because they have something you want and you're willing to take it from them. This includes another person. This includes other people. This includes outside of you. When you're focused on you, when you're doing what you need to be doing for yourself, that energy gets used appropriately. There's nothing to feel bad about, because again, you use it appropriately. It's when you take other people's stuff, it's when you go out of the realm of yourself, then problems start to arise. Why does the truth hurt? Again, it hurts because people that are lying, people that are manipulative, don't want to get exposed. And so when you tell them the truth of what you know, it hurts them. It's crazy to me. You even see people, I've heard this from people too. You're like, calling them out, right? You say something, and they'll be like, why do you want to see me cry? Why do you want to see me angry? Why does everybody hate me? And so the second they get caught up in the lie, they automatically victimize themselves. They start acting, because it's interesting to me, because when you see children as the victim, right? Like, children are victims in this world. Well, when people will act like children so that people will sympathize with them and let them go, right? So it's funny how we know children are victims because of the way they're designed, which makes sense. But when there's adults that act like a child to be a victim, to get favoritism or to get some kind of like leniency, it's the same mechanism. I'm just a child. I don't know. I'm so dumb. It's like the guy from the Titanic where he's like, I have a child. Like, let me on the boat, right? All of a sudden, he's like, I'm helpless. I'm a victim. So, yeah, you get these situations where, people will lie. People will manipulate information. And the second you start exposing them, they start reacting like, because the truth does hurt. It hurts people that are morally wrong. It hurts people that are lying. It doesn't hurt people that tell the truth. If you tell the truth, it can't hurt you. The truth only hurts those that want to manipulate, want to be chaotic, want to victimize themselves. So remember, people that try to avoid the truth are people that love chaos. They're not ready to change their lives. They're not ready to be good people. They're not ready to be positive. And so that's why I would recommend you guys, when you're interacting with people that don't like the truth, they're going to eat your soul. These people are going to continue to eat you. So you have to be able to put down a boundary and be like, nah, I'm good. I don't want you in my life right now. Like, you need to go, again, find yourself, find your truth, be able to build yourself up, identify your issues, and build a better life for you. So again, if the truth hurts, it only hurts one person. People that are lying, manipulating, and chaotic. And they're never going to be happy. That doesn't lead to happiness. That doesn't lead to some sort of greater purpose. That's just how it works. So just something to consider, okay? When you're trying to see, like, why is this person so offended by what I say? It's because at the end of the day, they prefer the chaos, not the truth. Because the truth can't hurt if you're telling the truth. All right, guys. Spread Asha, good words, good thoughts, and good deeds. Okay? Take it easy. Good words, good thought, good deeds. Later. Hey, guys. Sebastian back, and I want to talk to you guys about another topic that I find very fascinating, interesting. You hear a lot of the word intelligent design, but nobody really explains what that is. Or like, or like even like the idea of like made in the image of God and all these things. It's like, they take these phrases and they take them so literal that they actually lose what the whole purpose of the like message was. It's like It's like they take a story and they're like, it's gonna be this, and you're like, not necessarily. So let me explain a little bit about how intelligent design actually works and break it down for you. So intelligent design to me is this idea that so I'm also a believer, so like in like Zoroastrianism, like, you know, to some extent, like their philosophies are probably the most closest aligned to what I believe in, which is like the precursor to monotheistic religion. So essentially Judaism, Christianity, Islam all like ripped off the same idea off of Zoroastrians. Like, it's just how you go look at I don't have to tell you, go look it up. It's just there. Now, intelligent design to me goes to this idea that I think that time is infinite, and so is space, and so is the universe. So these things have just existed. They're just a system that's already been implemented in some sort of reality, right? So we're already in this existence reality, right? So we're here. And what's interesting is, you know, we always debate on the origin of life and all this stuff. I have a philosophy, I have a theory, that as long as one cell can live in the universe, just figure out how to survive, one cell. As long as, even if it's extremes, temperatures, everything, you can just survive one cell. That cell is almost like a white blood vessel in a human body. It's a cell ready to program. The most basic cells, at their most basic fundamental levels, are just little seeds that are ready to start programming to their environment. So let me explain how. Let's say, I don't know, a single cell organism is somehow on an asteroid or something, and frozen, cold on the asteroid. That asteroid hits the water, Earth, right? It hits water. It has it just needs one single cell organism. Okay, that's it. And as long as the Earth is in the right stats, as long as it has the right things, all of a sudden, that one single cell organism is going to start programming itself to its environment. So that one single cell starts going, okay, calculate. And it's literally reading the environment, the elements, everything. And it's changing based off of these needs to some extent too. It's adapting. It's learning. It's programming itself. And here's the thing. It's reacting. It's reacting to the environment just like water and oil would react if you put them together. This thing is literally reacting to the environment that it's been placed in. And so the whole reason it's like this is because it's programming itself wherever. So if it's in water, it programs, right? If it's in salt water, it'll program. If it, like, depending on where it goes, at the end of the day, it's going to program itself into existence. So one cell multiplies and those cells multiply, and during this process, you know, adaptations are going to happen. You can call them adaptations, you can call them patches. I like to call them patch updates. And so when we talk about living in a simulation, the closest thing to a simulation that we could say is that God, the universe, whatever, created like the earth, right? Like out of all the elements, and made it and created this little paradise, this little haven. And then the little white cell comes and it starts terraforming that land. So it starts terraforming that earth so that it can support more variety of life. And so that one cell terraforms a planet, and then those same cells will then program themselves into consciousness. I mean, that's what happens, right? So I believe that as long as one cell can get somewhere, it's going to start terraforming that planet, which means making it adaptable for life. And then it's going to start creating a kind of a path towards consciousness, self-awareness. So in my system, human beings essentially program themselves into existence. We programmed ourselves. I mean, not really, but yes. All the cells in me, they help program me and get me here. All those different variations were all part of the same programming. They had to be. Because that's how you get to the end. You gotta work on the programming. That's why by the time you get to us, there's been a lot of programming going on, right? We're not single-cell organisms, but the origin is from a single-celled organism. That's just how it works, right? So you take the single cell and it develops itself. That's intelligent design. It's designing itself intelligently, not just randomly. It is adapting to the environment that it's in. Now, can we say that a automatic sensor in a system may not be necessarily intelligence? Sure. You could say that. You could say that it's automatically like responding to things because of like just the way, feelings work, right? Sure. But again, the way it adapts to so many different types of environments, and the animals are doing better. Its probability is a factor, okay? But it's probability with some kind of mapping. Whether it's, okay, let's just say the cells or the atom cells, whatever, right? They're picking up on things. Like they have like this programming in them that allows them to adapt to scenarios. Yes, there's probability. There is probability. But at the same time, there has to be some level of consistency. And so these things had to have been played out to some extent because, again, it can't just fully be random. It's like a mix of random with a mix of intent. And that's what's interesting, is that if everything was just random, there's a level of too much random in the world that nothing can function. Like, it literally can't. It's not stable. It's unstable. You can't have stability in instability. And so it's interesting. The ratios, again, like 80% of our life seems to be pretty stable, and then we have a little bit of 20 with variety, right? But those things are important. The variety is what makes us us. The consistency is what makes us the same. But the variety is what makes us a little different. And we need a little of that. So we need a variety. We need to have, probability for chance. But we also need some kind of design. Because it's designing something new is taking a chance. That's the whole idea. And sometimes it works out. And that population of animal will strive for another 1,000 years. And sometimes it doesn't work out and they die, pretty fast. But at the end of the day, we all come from that same initial source, that intelligent design. So all these animals, all these things, everything around you, to some extent, they've been intelligently designed over time, right? Maybe not in the way that we think, he just did some dust and you were there. No, but we designed ourselves into existence. We as human beings designed ourselves to be here. Whether it was from that one single cell organism, intelligently we've been designed to be able to receive and have consciousness. Now, I have debates on what caused consciousness. I believe that we were playing music and that kind of got us closer to God. Nobody really knows. I just know that I have my theories and, I like to believe what I believe. But yeah, guys, that's how intelligent design works. There's a mix of chance and then there's a mix of planning. But again, anytime you make changes to a plan, you're going to have to take some risk. So, it's part of life. Also, it's interesting too, we worry about extinction and all these other things, but at the same time, the world's been 80% extinct in the past. And it found a way. Because again, as long as one single-celled organism can live there, life can happen. Take it easy, guys. Later. Hey guys, Sebastian back with another video, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about how your soul operates, kind of how to understand the mechanism between the physical and metaphysical, and then also how to appreciate what you're able to do with this object, especially when you learn how to hone in on it. It'll explain a lot of how your soul, how your purpose works, and really the way to manifest it, the way to harness your abilities, your powers, because again, you're essentially, let's put it this way, you're like a car, and your system works in a way where you have the physical, which is like the car, the metaphysical, which is we could call it the gas, and then you could do the thinking, right? Like the critical as the driver, right? So this vehicle, in order for me to drive, it requires three things. The car needs to be operational, it needs to have fuel, and it needs to have a sense of direction. And we literally are that. We are the car, the fuel, and the sense of direction. We literally are a meat mech vehicle. We actually are already some kind of like mech unit for a eternal creature. Okay, this is the physical Megazoid, droid, whatever, Gundam wing, whatever you want to call it, Gundam. This is the Gundam. We are in a meat Gundam. And your pilot is the conscious. That's why when it's unconscious, your Gundam is not powered. It's literally resting. This is the Gundam when it's tired. I mean, that's what it looks like, right? And so your pilot is your consciousness. Your meat vehicle, your Gundam, is the thing that you're sitting in, whatever you want to call it, right? And you're in the pilot seat right now, operating this meat vehicle with your little HUD system, right? Sorry, sir, damages have been done. We need to reorganize our circuits. We need to repair our damage to our meat vehicle. Okay, so anyways, your meat Gundam, your physical manifestation, right? So let's break this down. So let's take your heart, right? Your heart in the Egyptian religion or in the Egyptian belief system, they believed that your heart was really important. And it actually is. It's almost like your heart is your soul. It is the mechanism that keeps your soul going. It literally provides a beat for it. This is the physical manifestation of your soul, okay? So you take your heart and you look at the heart and you put all your energy into it, right? And so you put all this energy into this heart. So you give it heart and soul. As your heart starts to heat up or get inspired, whatever, that holy flame, that divine energy, that eternal energy, whatever the hell you want to call it, it starts to burn bright. This heart of mine starts to glow with energy, with radiant light, like some kind of lightness, some kind of like good positive feeling, confidence. This aura will start to radiate. I will start to produce an aura with the frequency of how I'm existing in the planet, existing in the world. The things that I'm experiencing right now are going to affect the people around me because I'm producing some kind of energy, vibration into the world. When you hone in all your ether, your spirit, time, energy, and attention into your heart starts to glow. When it glows, it's going to produce something called a shadow, okay? So you have this light source, and behind you, right, in between you and your heart is a shadow. You're in the present. You're putting all your energy into your heart and soul, which is creating a new future for you, right? It's illuminating your future. It's illuminating what can be. While in your past, as this future grows brighter and brighter, your past becomes less relevant, right? It is a part of you. It does not define you. And so you always have a past as long as you have a future, right? Your past will always be a part of it because they're all intertwined, right? The only reason my future looks so bright is because currently I am putting all my energy into my heart. My heart and soul are one. And that when the heart and soul are one, right, that means that I am connected to my higher purpose. I care. I have thought and I have feeling. And when I put them together, I have heart. My heart is the thing that allows me to move forward in life. It produces a light where it makes my future seem bright. And my past is only as dark as it needs to be to reflect the future that I'm creating. So you focus on this light, it starts to burn bright. You have a shadow. If you turn away from your heart, if you turn from your heart's desire, if you turn off your heart, your ability to care, you go to the darkness, close your eyes. What's the point? You can't see one because there is no point in your eyes right now. But if you open your eyes, you look for a light, that's a point. Just like when you look up in the night sky, the stars, each one of those stars is a point. We literally point them out to create any kind of celestial body, any kind of like, Aries and Cancer and all these different astrologies and everything like that, right? And so you look at these different things that are out there, they're based on stars because each one of those stars has a point. And so what that means is if you harness your energy into your soul starts to have a point that now glows. And when this soul glows, you can see all the other souls out there glowing like you can, just like the constellations. So no matter how much miserable people, drained, and soulless people are out there, right, that haven't activated their souls, well, what does that mean? Well, now there's void in between, but that doesn't stop those other souls out there that are burning bright not to see each other, right? Because they see each other. Why? Because they're working on burning their own soul. They are literally activating their little piece of ancient technology, whatever you want to call it, right? They're activating this thing that's projecting into their future what they're able to achieve, right? If you focus on your past, just like closing your eyes, you don't see a point. Eventually, your past will consume you so much that it becomes your present. But your past can never be your future. So just like Jesus said, turn the cheek. It's literally telling you turn away from the darkness because it's a waste of energy, and focus on what? Your soul, what's divine, because that, when you harness all your energy, your soul into your heart, and it starts to burn bright, all possibilities start to present themselves because you have willpower, you have an ability, you have this magical eternal energy that's pushing you forward to be able to create whatever outcome you would like. So you harness. And so what this does is when you harness this, you're able to see those around you that are also bright. When you burn bright and another person burns bright, you guys can share your enlightenment together. This brightness burns together. So when you're interacting with them and they're interacting with you, you guys are unitely burning this sensation together. And so you don't feel drained engaging with people who are also enlightened. So find those around you who are enlightened by enlightening yourself. It will attract people. You become a lighthouse of knowledge, a lighthouse of emotional care. All right, so remember, you want to be able to take heart, right, so that you can understand how to alleviate balance and work on the other parts, right? So as your heart starts to break, your soul starts to break, it's giving you some indications where you need to work on things. And so if you're living, well, actually we'll talk about this in another video, but if you're living in the future and past, you're going to start to see it messes with your system. It actually messes with your entire being when you stop living in the now. You were designed to follow a certain type of rhythm in life, and when you don't follow that rhythm, you start to have some kind of side effects. And we'll talk about that in another video. Okay, guys, remember, let's break it down here. You have a soul here. It's your heart. When you put your whole ether into your heart, it starts to burn your future brightly. This future burns so bright that your past just becomes a part of you. It does not define you. All right, guys? There's a lot of chaotic energy that wants to suck you out of your soul. But remember, as long as your soul burns bright, they can't touch you. It's like the ancient days. If you don't invite the vampires in, they can't suck out all your energy. All right, guys. I'll see you guys on the next one later. Hey guys, it's Sebastian back with another video, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about how to understand your soul, how to understand time, and really kind of breaking down, why it's important, what the benefits are of going with the flow, okay? And now, here's what's really funny about the flow. We talk about the flow all the time, going with the flow. I mean, it's a phrase we use, daily, like, hey, just go with the flow. But no one really explains, what the flow really means and, how to actually go with the flow, okay? So the flow really comes down to the flow of time, all right? Time is an interesting thing because it advances, but it also doesn't. It comes to you. It is always happening, That's why, when you're sitting, things are happening to you as they're coming to you. And when you're moving through the flow of time. Because again, it only flows in one direction in some way. It doesn't go reverse. It's an energy moving one direction, literally, as a totality. And so, like, that's time. Time is energy movement, essentially. Because what does it take? Time. It takes time to move stuff. So time is just like movement in some way, some kind of movement and energy. Okay, so time was pre-programmed, calculated, whatever you want to call it, right? Like, how do you calculate the rate of existence? It's each moment is a moment, and each moment after that is a moment that is no more, and each moment that is to come is a moment that has not come yet, but it will come. And so again, it's just like time is what it is, right? Literally, it's the flow of time. So time flows, right? Now, in my belief system, I believe time, energy, all this stuff, everything in existence has always been and will always be. And it's just a part of how the collective conscious of existence works as a totality. So really, like, time, energy, all this stuff, you can't make it or create it. It's just at a different place in its existence. It's at a different wavelength. It's a different time in the wavelength, right? It's like a heartbeat. Each time you cut it up in the little parts, it's at a different segment in the grander picture of a heartbeat. Same thing with what we're in. We're in the grander picture of some kind of reality, right? I didn't make the numbers. Someone had to calculate everything. Somebody had to decide what the rate of whatever was going to be. And that's what's been decided. So beyond me, I didn't make the rate of time. I just live with it. Now, what I find interesting is, like, everything has some kind of, like, balance, happy medium, right? Like talking. Why do we like it when people talk normal? Why does it feel like I can trust someone that talks normal to me? What is normal? It's a rate of sound that we've all collectively felt is normal. Just like walking. Why does walking feel the safest form of it feels like the less likely to get injured and the less likely to miss something. It just feels good. You know what else feels good? When you get to the bus stop right on time, right when the bus gets there, and you're there right at the perfect moment. It feels good to do that. Why does that feel good? Why does it feel so good to have an exact match? Why does that feel good? Why does my brain go, yum, I love when I get to a place at the exact moment I had to and did it at the exact time, right? There's something about doing things at the right exact moment as it's supposed to happen that makes it magical. It's almost like we're predispositioned to like miracles or to like coincidences. We are programmed to enjoy coincidences because when they happen, we all go, that was awesome. Oh man, what are the chances of that happening? And so something about the way we're programmed already allows us to be able to enjoy these little moments in life, right? These little miracles, as you could call them. And so, okay, now let's break down how our body and the soul and all this stuff interacts with the world. So, here's a fun fact. Your body can't go any faster than time. Oh, wow, yeah, it doesn't. It can't. Try to outrun time. Try to go slower than time. Try to slow it down. All you're doing is physically becoming resistant towards the physical manifestation of time. That's it, right? So physically, you're trying to combat time, but you can't beat time because it is a constant. It's an absolute. You can't beat it. You are not designed to be an absolute in that sense. You are designed to have better days than others. Time doesn't have better days than others. Time always is. It's an absolute. It always is. It just always is going at the same rate. It cannot have fluctuation the same way we can. Now, does that mean that time doesn't act weird depending on like gravity and all these things? Sure. But again, it doesn't stop. Even in a black hole, as time almost freezes, it does not stop. It never stops. It cannot stop. Time is part of the process of things that cannot stop. It must continue. And time is the reason why existence can be. Because if you give it enough time, it'll happen. Now, how does anxiety and depression work when it comes to the ether? Well, let's break it down this way. Your physical can be here, but what about your spiritual? What about the eternal? What about when you're thinking about yesterday, or you feel depressed because something that happened 2 years ago, right? Nothing physically happened. Nothing has changed physically for you. There's been no difference in a physical interaction in your life for you to be experiencing this deficit, but you still feel it. You feel it. You feel something that isn't real, but you still feel it because your eternal is real when you make it real. You can be upset about an event that didn't even happen. You can physically feel a response to an event that did not even happen. Your eternal can actually cause issues. Now, why do you get, when you get anxiety, right? Why do you get shaky? Because you're trying to predict something bad coming from the future. So you start what? Noticing, right? Think about how someone acts when something that they're unsure is going to happen. They start pacing and moving, getting excited because they don't know what's about to happen, right? So they start to experience this level of heightened emotional state, right? Because their soul, their ether is going to the future, leaving their body what? Behind. They're no longer in their body at that moment because they would feel normal. They start to feel anxious when the physical and the metaphysical starts to separate. So as they start going like in the metaphysical into the future to feel and explore outcomes that haven't been yet, what happens? Their body starts to shake because it's giving them the anxiety of the future that's coming. Their soul's going into a future state that hasn't happened yet, so they start to shake as a result. The opposite is said for depression, where you start to fall behind in the time. Your body, your soul and body start to separate because your soul's falling behind as your body's moving forward. This is why you feel depression. You feel empty as your soul starts to get left behind. Your physical is moving forward, but your ether starts kind of getting left behind. So that's why you start feeling depression, because physically you're here, but spiritually you're behind. You're literally falling behind, which is why you feel depressed. You feel lethargic. You feel low because your ether is feeling left behind. The physical manifestation and the eternal are not connected anymore. So in order to feel normal, you have to live one mindfully, mindfulness in the now, aligned. You have to have your heart all full. That's living in the now. Now, here's why it's better to live in the now. Because when your heart's full and you have a full heart, right? Your heart's here. Well, when you recharge your battery at night, you can put your heart into your brain and get all your productivity done, or put your heart in your gut and get all your fun done. And then when you've been productive all day and had fun, you can put your heart back to recharge, to reignite for the next day, so that you can take a full heart and put your full effort and put your full gut and then get a fulfilling life. But if you split your heart, you only get half a heart, you're either a narcissist or you're borderline, because you can't live in the present because you only have half a heart. So your soul is all fucked up. So just remember that. If you want to have a full soul, you got to put your mind and gut to work, let it rest, and every day is going to be a new day. Take it easy, guys. Later. Hey guys, Sebastian back with another video, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about a new concept that I came up recently, but it makes a lot of sense once you really think about it. And there's this old story about the fountain of youth, right? And it's interesting that so many people will go look for this fountain and really believe that there was some kind of fountain out there that would help you remain youthful, as you aged. And something that's come to my light recently is the way our emotional state works. For example, like when you're crying, right? Tears are meant to come out of the body. They're not meant to go back in. So you don't have a mechanism to put tears back in, but they definitely have a way to come out of you. And this is the same for generally all emotions. They're meant to come out of you, right? Anger, sadness, happiness, all these, anxiety, depression, all these things are meant to come out of you. They're meant to express themselves. And so feelings come from the in to come to the out. This same idea would be considered for willpower. So your spirit, your soul, the thing that kind of drives you forward, this thing is meant to come out, not in. That is why it feels good to get things done, like to exercise or to get your productivity done. It feels good to have fun, enjoy yourself. It feels good to rest. Like, it feels good to do things that are meant to take care of the system. And so these things are meant to come out. And the way I view the body is a very particular mechanism. So first, when you're a little kid, your mechanism is more like a circle, right? So you have your stomach, which is your child brain, or what I would call like your emotions. And then you have your heart here. So as a kid, you mainly just stay kind of in this general area here, right? You're really just kind of like following your own little system here. Like, it's self-fulfilled. This is when I say people are the most connected with the higher power, like the most organic state. Again, kids are just themselves. And then once you get to puberty and beyond, you start to unlock the second part of this system. And so now there's a second part to this flow state, right? So now things are flowing in a more rhythmic pattern here. And what that means is that your spirit, your drive, your energy is designed to flow in a very specific manner. It's really the best effective way to get the most done out of your day and feel the best by the end of the day. And that is, you want to first be productive to get all your stress mechanism out, like all the weight of the world, off your shoulders, so you can relieve the stress, relieve the weight of that world on you. The next part, you're going to go to your gut, right? So now you go to your gut so that you can recharge, right? So now you recharge, not recharge, have some fun. But yeah, I guess recharge in a way, but your goal is to have some fun, find fulfillment. You want to fill up yourself, you want to find interesting things to do, eat that tasty food that you really like. This is the time to really fill up yourself with enjoyment. So once you fill up with life, now you recharge the battery and you go rest. And so the goal is to, go back to home base, go to your bed, and recharge the system, recharge the body, recharge the mind, recharge the feelings, and find yourself back in the middle, right? Get your spirits back up. Let your spirit go back to the ether and recharge itself as well, right? Unload what it has from the conscious state to the unconscious state, right? To the collective conscious, as you want to call it. Right? So it goes back to the state and kind of gives it back the information that it got. And so when you come back, right, now you have a full heart. And so in the morning, you're going to put it right back up here, back to being in productive mode. Then you go back to having fun for filling it up. And then you're back to recharging. So you go boom, boom, boom. And this is the well, right? This is the well. So you go, down and then back up. Down and then back up. Down and then back up. Same thing with out, right? You're going out and in, right? And so your energy is flowing through you. It is having this kind of, ongoing swing, right? And so when you cut that swing off, things don't go very well. So very similar to how a fountain, right, has water that is constantly flowing through it. When that water flows, it actually helps the fountain remain, in a way, youthful. Because that flow of water keeps it from aging, keeps it from unlubricating, right? And so it sustains its beauty even though it's aging, right? So an old fountain can still look beautiful and be almost youthful in a way because of the flow state, right? Kids tend to flow, right? So it's that youthfulness. That's what we tend to have when we're young, is that youth, that flow to life, that we can keep up with the rhythm of life. We can keep up with the enjoyments of life. And so that's really where that part is coming from, is that you're starting to understand that, flow states are better for keeping energy in motion, essentially. So when you cut off your spirit, when you cut off your flow state, when you're no longer, working, having fun, and resting, when you're not doing those appropriately, you start to lose spirit. You start to lose drive. And to the point where you can almost cut your spirit, right? Where you're really not operating in that flow state. You're barely operating, really. So your system's fucked up or messed up. It's not being, it's not able to operate. And so when it breaks and it has this issue, your body starts to age and look, it looks unhealthy, looks unkept. It doesn't look well taken care of
because you've literally stopped your flow state. You've stopped your body from being able to get the most out of itself. And now, even though you may be young, you start to kind of act old or become old because your body isn't getting its needs met. It's not functioning at full capacity. It's like a car that has a messed up engine or something's wrong with it. It's not going to be a smooth ride. It'll still get you there, but it's not going to get you there to the efficiency that it would if it had a fluid state. Like if it had, a clean engine, a clean drive, right? So when we mess up our own systems, it makes it harder for us to get through life. It makes it harder to feel like you are able to flow through life. Life seems to be a struggle and battle. And that is going to add to the aging that happens. So when you're no longer feeling your energy, feeling that flow, taking care of yourself and being positive and, bringing more good to your life, you start to break down your body. You're not taking care of it. If you leave a car sitting every day, it's not going to run as well as the car that gets run every day, at least the appropriate amount, right? I'm not talking about driving it, into the ground. I'm talking about driving it, quote unquote, normal, right? On time, at a good pace, right? So that's what we want to find, is that good pace, that rhythm. And that's how a fountain can work. A fountain works because it has the same rhythm of the water, right, going through it. If you start cutting off the water at certain places, it couldn't have a flow state. It would start, kind of like shooting it out, spitting it out. So in order to have that flow state, you have to be able to set up that system, right? So you can continuously utilize that energy, right? And it will recharge itself. So every day, right, you wake up with energy and you use it, right? And then you go back to the flow state and recharge it. And so this is the fountain of youth. That's why some spirits are youthful, right? He has a young soul. You can have an old soul. You can have a really old soul where you just don't care anymore and then you're just broken. Or you can have a youthful soul. A soul that still has a flow to it. A soul that still has an existence to it. A soul that's still going strong, right? So again, you can be a young 90-year-old. Why? Because you don't seem 90. Because your age isn't relevant to your flow. When you have life in you, when you've been allowing yourself to be that individual, that flow state you were meant to be, then it's easier to sustain yourself and keep moving forward. All right, guys, so remember, the fountain of youth is in you. You are that fountain, and your energy, your spirit is the thing that helps you remain youthful. When you take care of your mind, body, and soul, you will remain looking youthful. You will remain in a healthy, bright, young spirit. All right, guys, take it easy. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later. Hey, guys, Sebastian back with another video, and today we're going to talk about another concept I think is really interesting. So recently I've been getting really into, magic and light and higher powers and spirituality and really understanding what it means to be human and the power that we have as beings of a celestial purpose, or whatever you want to call us, right? And what that really comes down to is, it's fascinating to me that when we think of like the word magic and things that are magical, there is actually something in the world that already reflects a lot of the things that we already believe to be what we call magical. It's just the way we interpret the word. We don't interpret things sometimes, I think, in the right context, where we go a little too far into like a fantasy type of environment where we like to make things a lot more grander than they really are. Because reality already has a lot of magic to it. It's just the way you perceive magic, right? For example, I believe that words have a lot of power, and words are magical. And energy comes from words, and energy is what's used to create words. So words are really just a group of sounds, wavelengths that are connected to each other, and created through our spirit, right? So the words that I speak out into the world, in order to speak those words out, required my drive, my energy, my passion to create this sound into the universe, right? To create a word. And what's even more powerful is that words can't be destroyed. You can destroy anything physical, but you can't destroy a word. You can try to stop people from using it. You can make it a banned word. You can silence people. But words are so powerful that they cannot be destroyed. You can't take them away. You can't make them disappear. They are in existence. Now, people can forget about a word, right? That's different, right? So if we all collectively forgot a word existed, then yes, that word technically would remain powerful, or wouldn't have the same impact, right? But that doesn't mean they can take this word out of existence, because those connected sounds, if somebody else said them, they would still be the same sounds. It would still be the same word. The meaning may not be the same for that word, but the sound would still be the same. So the effect that word, the sound that people are receiving from other people, that series of wavelengths is universally going to be heard by everybody, right? In the same way. That's how powerful words are. Now, words are so powerful that they actually can cause people to feel pain. You can inflict pain with words. You can also heal people with words. That's how magical words are. Words are so magical that we even ban people from using certain words because of the type of pain they can inflict on people. They even tell you that you can literally sit there and beat somebody for years and not have the same impact as if you mentally abuse them with words. Because those words can impact people years from now. The same damage can be experienced from that word than that physical pain. So if somebody breaks my arm, right, yes, it's going to hurt, but my arm isn't going to have the same pain from that event as if it's the physical effect it had. However, a word can hurt your emotions in the same way that it happened when you were experiencing that word during that time. So feelings can actually hurt you from words a lot more than the physical aspect, right? Because again, it's a type of pain that is only created when experiencing that word, that system of sounds creates this pain inside of people. So words are very powerful. Words are so powerful that they literally can change the entire history of a country, a nation. The right set of words. The right set of words can change your mood, can change how people treat you. They are so powerful. They are literally the way that we operate within this system is that we have to communicate with words because that's our power. They literally used to take people's tongues away so they couldn't talk to try to take away their power. When people silence you, they're taking away your power, your ability to communicate, your ability to fight. Literally, they're called fighting words because words can be used to fight with. That is how powerful. That's like casting a spell. You're casting spells. Like, in order to do an exorcism is just words. And an exorcism in real life is when you call people out for their lying and they start acting fucking crazy. Well, that's the same thing as words have power. Because again, if I get them to say that they're lying, that's powerful. I can get someone to act out, that's powerful. I can get somebody to calm down. I can make somebody's entire life change with just the right words. Maybe there's something that I can say that would motivate them, that would have been the catalyst to completely change their life outcomes. And again, it all comes back to words. What words we're using. This is another thing. I noticed that every time we change languages, it's like we lose some of that flavor from life. We lose some of that style, that connection to what we know, right? Every time I've noticed that languages change, we lose like what meaning is. So sometimes we don't even know if they meant it in a metaphysical way or a physical way, or if we even have the right translation. What if we got an improper translation? Just as much as like some word in America, if you heard it in England, would have a whole different meaning, but it's the same word. And so again, like this is how powerful words can be. So powerful that one nation, that word could, make someone say hello to you, in another nation it would make people hate you, right? It's just words are very powerful. And again, It's what we use to communicate to the world around us. It's what we use to affect the world around us. I can engage somebody's emotional state. I can engage their logical state. I can engage a lot of different outcomes. I can even, words are so powerful that they can predict outcomes. They can manifest things into reality. Again, they can destroy things too, like somebody's ego, right? Or, somebody's energy and well-being. So words are super important. And I also believe that there was a time in history where we were much more, expressive with our words. We cared about the way we talked. We cared about the things that we said. It gave us power. And what I've realized is the more they can take away the people's words, the more they can confuse you or stop you from having a vocabulary that really is expansive and allows you to communicate in a very effective way, or maybe even a more enlightened way. It gives you power to communicate with people and receive more of what you want from the world, because you know how to express it in a way where you can be understood, and so much understood that they offer you the thing that you're looking for in exchange because they understand the message so well. And so that's the problem sometimes, is that when people don't use their words, they can't affect change. And this is why people that go silent don't get their needs met. And what is it called? A closed mouth doesn't get fed. Again, words are magical. You could say the right words to the right person that would change your life forever. In the right way. Like, man, the way you inspired me today, the way you talked about me, I want to invest in your company. I want to do the thing. But again, guys, you can also use bad words. And those words can hurt. Those words can ruin opportunities. Those words can change the course of your life. They can ruin your life. So just remember, words are magical. They have power. Those frequencies, those sounds, those things that you're doing can completely change the course of your entire existence. So just remember, words have power. They are spells that you use every day to convey an energy, to change an outcome. So just know what words you want to use, what they mean for what you're doing, and how you express yourself. Because again, that's the magic that you have. We all have magic, okay? It's your words. Just be careful how you use them, because remember, they're just a reflection of your soul coming out of you. So that's you putting your soul out there every time you talk. That's your magic, is your existence, is your talking. All right, guys, take it easy.